Hello, my name is Chloe Folan, and I'm actually having to recreate this video. I had my Red Ray video pre-recorded already, and I was getting ready to share it this week. And how I've saved it, I can't seem to get it from how it's been saved up onto my social media sites, like that it might just be my internet connection or something else to do with how I've saved it, but it's looking like it's just going to be a lot easier for me to just recreate it again, which is unfortunate because when I create videos, I just go with the flow. I do not have a script. I've got nothing up in front of me. I literally receive an impulse. I gently think about it. I align and I log on and get ready to share. So I'm a little bit disappointed because there were some parts of the video where it just everything I wanted to say was in it. So I'm kind of disappointed because I don't know if I can, well, you can't really recreate that flow. So I'm going to do my absolute best to hit on all of the points that I organically hit on in the video, which won't load for me, so please bear with me. Some people would wonder why this is so important to me. And it's important to me because I do believe in giving proper, grounded spiritual teachings, meaning from the raise videos I've already posted, I believe most people would have understood my main message is there are 7 main rays. The other rays are sub-rays, and that doesn't mean they're less important or anything like that, but there are 7 main rays. The other rays are sub-rays, and every other combination out there only exists because it takes from one of those 7 rays to create it. And I believe the other message that most people heard was the other point I was trying to get across is when it comes to the 7 main original rays or any ray combination, it is all high frequency. Spirit can't be measured. Meaning, one of my favorite authors and speakers who I would immerse myself in from time to time is Carolyn Myss. And I remember watching a video recently that she created that was about something else, but she brought up the really important point that we have to stop measuring. Meaning she was talking about it in different ways, meaning doing the comparison thing. Meaning one of the examples she gave is, well, I'm going to have the piece of cake because I deserve it, that measuring. Rather than going, okay, I'll just have the piece of cake because I'd like to enjoy it and I'm not allergic to anything in it, so I'll eat it. Or, you know, I deserve a break because I've been through this tough situation, meaning once again, there's that sneaky measuring coming in. You know, you should feel that you deserve to have something good happen to you regardless of a prior difficulty you've been through, meaning that sneaky thing. I've noticed that myself with people that I've worked with, where sometimes people are suffering from that negative versus nature, where it's only because they've gone through something really deep and difficult that they now feel that they deserve something good. Meaning you should believe that anyway. Don't feel that you've got to put yourself through something horrendously difficult to then deserve something. That was her main message. And I would like to mirror that with what I've been trying to say about the rays. Because when it comes to these 7 main original rays that every other combination comes from, spirit is immeasurable. So someone turning around and going, oh, but this ray is this frequency, that's something creative that they've picked up on, but it's not fact. It's their opinion and they're allowed to have one, but it's not fact. spirit is immeasurable. Spiritual light is omnipotent. It transcends. Spirit's light is so powerful, it cannot and has not been measured, coming back to what I've been trying to say. All the 7 main rays are high frequency, all of them. So this silly nitpicking over what ray is relevant or higher frequency, it hasn't been measured. That's been my main message with this. Spirit's rays, Spirit's light has not been measured because Spirit's light is that powerful. Spirit's light is that omnipotent and omnipresent. It has not been measured, nor do I believe it could be. But coming back to the red ray, like that, I'm going to create a whole nother video over where I believe sometimes people do get their frequency ideas from. I believe some people are confusing the science of light, where science has been able to measure frequency of light, but we're talking about physical light, not spiritual light. That's where I believe some confusion is getting in. I'm going to create a whole nother video about that because this is cropped up in some overlapping emails. Coming back to the red ray. The red ray is a very important ray. It's very important in terms of the ray that will condition our next solar system. And it's also very important as a ray in ray makeups, because this is where ethnicity, meaning the genetic race you are, certain races are aligned with, or more commonly aligned with, certain ray makeups. So this is where the red ray is also racially very important as well. And as I do my best to explain this, it might also solve a bit of a puzzle for people who don't know me, who've just been watching my videos, as to why I'm doing my best to be very right relations direct about this. Because over the years I put together the Blessing Technique workshop, which took 7 years, as well as teaching my Rainbow Bridge Readings course for over a decade. And it's cropped up in other courses as well that I've taught. There is a consistency of misinformation that keeps cropping up, meaning I've even come across it in some books that talk about, you know, the red ray fading, or the red ray not having influence. Or people have asked me, people have come to me and emailed me and said, Chloe, I was told on this course or read this in a book that the red ray is fading out or not having main influence. So I've been gently correcting this, or at least giving a very good, grounded, valid opinion on this for years. So just to share some of what I've already emailed lots of different people and taught across many different courses, to keep this as brief as possible. The red ray is still a very important ray in terms of our next solar system. The current solar system that we are in, this is an indigo solar system, meaning the aura of this solar system is indigo, as well as planet Earth's aura. And we are in a system of triangles. The past ray that conditioned, meaning going back to even before Lemurian cycles started, coming towards the transitioning end of Lemurian cycles, coming a little bit into Atlantis. Our solar system that was more deeply connected with other solar systems back then, we were conditioned by the green ray of activity and adaptability under a square system. fast forward to now. We are now, at this present moment in time, at the midway point of our solar system, being in a triangular system conditioned by the indigo ray. We're at that midway point. We are midway through the triangle indigo cycles. And what will then start to happen is, as most people know, and astronomers have been talking about this, and I do believe most people are aware of this to varying degrees, astronomers have been saying, and it's true, that our sun, meaning the sun of our solar system, is starting to very slowly die out. And they've predicted that our sun will implode, and that will also bring this solar system to a close. They've predicted that that's going to happen in around 3 to 4 to 5 billion years' time. My gut on it would be maybe around, between 3 to 4 billion years' time. So no one panic, it's a very long way off. We're talking billions of years. So that's how much longer we have to go with the triangle system. But what will happen is, as we come to that point where our sun does die out and implode, which will end this current solar system in about 3 to 4 billion years' time, what will be happening overlapping with that is the red ray will be conditioning the next solar system that we will be reincarnating in under the red ray of will and power in a circle system. So the next system, where all of our souls will then be reincarnating at that point in time when this solar system can't support life anymore, that system will be conditioned by the red ray under a system of circles. So the red ray is still very much here and very slowly starting to come in more, not less. That is also where the Aquarian age is playing a role, meaning the violet ray. So yes, we're in an indigo system, indigo ray, but of course on another level, the violet ray is coming in periodically to condition the Aquarian age over the next 2000 years approximately. And what that violet ray will also be doing, because there's many levels as to what the violet ray will be doing with prompting more group work, more community organization, things moving forward more in groups and breaking down where hierarchical structure has gotten a bit rotten and forming those new groups to move more forward as a community. Not only will the violet ray be helping to precipitate that over the next 2000 years, but the violet ray, part of what it will also be doing is helping the red ray come in more within someone's ray makeup. If people remember from, I believe it was the second ray video, I was talking about how rays condition on different levels. There's the rays direct from source. There's also the rays within someone's ray makeup. There's rays that then condition collective and individual development. So now I'm going to talk about the very important relevance of the red ray in terms of ray makeup, meaning when you are viewing someone's ray makeup, what rays are within their ray makeup, because this is where the red ray is very relevant as well. And I would be hoping, although I won't see it in my lifetime, or I might just start to at the very end, part of what will be happening is the red ray will start to come in more within somebody's ray makeup. And that's very important for also helping prompt the formation of the red circle system, which isn't even embryonic at this stage. It's still only an idea within the universe. It hasn't formed yet. It's still too in the future. The seed of it is there, but it has not started forming yet. So coming to the red ray within someone's ray makeup, in the Antakarana documents I released, I talked about how the red ray is rare, not special, but rare, as in it's not common. One of the reasons it's not common is because it's not meant to be yet. It will be more so. There should be more people with red somewhere in their ray makeup coming through over the next 2,000 years as part of what's being precipitated by the Aquarian age. But it's rare, and for that reason, but it is very needed. It's very needed because when it comes to the racial form that you would maybe see a little bit of red within someone's ray makeup in, are people of either Black descent or Eastern European descent, but it would be more common within people of Black descent. So it's a very important ray, and it usually only displays as a monadic ray. The rare time you'd see it, that would be most of what you'd see, maybe a red monad. A little bit rarer again that you come across it as a triad. That's even less common. Or maybe the odd time a soul ray, but it's more common as a monadic ray, even though it's very rare still, because that ray is still starting to gently come in. In other words, the red ray hasn't come into its full flow cycle yet through personality ray makeups. And the other side of that is the souls that would carry more red within their ray makeup are also out of incarnation. For that reason, they are waiting for deeper work to be done with breaking down racial barriers, among other things, more racial equality. So when the souls out of incarnation that do have more red within their ray makeup, especially with the symbol of ray path 1 attached above, that's also very important, that it will be easier for them when they come into form, when they come into incarnation, to do their work. So what I'm trying to say is one of the reasons why the red ray is so rare in someone's ray makeup, they're out of incarnation, and they deliberately are so because they're waiting for better racial equality to come back in, especially in terms of where their service would shine. Because I do believe most people heard within the Ray's videos that I was talking about how particular ray makeups shine in certain fields of service. And when it comes to those with red somewhere in their ray makeup, and especially if they're on ray path 1, they have the potential to really shine in government and political work. But just to explain that a little bit deeper, don't narrow it down when I'm saying that and think I'm just talking about TDs or politicians. It's more expansive than that. Any work that falls into the category of government, institution work, or politics, that entire arena is the arena I'm talking about, where those ray makeups would shine. And I'll say it again, the particular ray makeups I'm talking about, the racial form that most likely carries those ray makeups or has a little bit of that ray makeup, are either people of Black descent or people of Eastern European descent. The odd time I have come across someone with red somewhere in their Ray makeup, and also when Ray Path 1 has been attached, or even just a little bit of red, I would be suspicious that maybe there was someone in their family line of Black descent that those records got lost, or maybe they are of Eastern European descent and don't realize it. You know, maybe those records got lost too. In other words, it's not a Caucasian typical Ray makeup. So I'll just talk about that for a moment. Generally speaking, when it comes to Western people of Western European descent, lovely Ray makeup blends of yellow and indigo. But of course, there's always exceptions to the rule. I'm speaking generally. People of Native American descent, beautiful yellows and blues, sometimes a little bit of green in there. Once again, remember, I'm just talking generally, lovely yellows and blues. People of Indian descent, lovely yellow and orange Ray makeup blends. People of Chinese descent and Japanese descent as well, lovely yellows and greens dominantly within the Ray makeup. So coming back to the racial form that has the higher ratio for holding, having the potential for having a little more red, and also then even better if Ray Path 1 is attached as well, are people of Black descent or Eastern European descent, meaning lovely mixes of indigo and blue with a little bit of red coming in. So to me, when I come across, and I find this telling as well, I have never come across a book or a document or a video on the rays where it's someone of Black descent saying the red ray isn't here or fading out or not relevant or something along those lines. And I find that telling. That information has only ever been, that misinformation about the red ray has only ever been written down or come out of the mouth of someone of Caucasian descent. So while I do appreciate that it's not meant in a racist way, to me it is. So that might explain now, like that, people coming to me with queries going, Chloe, I've been told that the red ray isn't here, or the red ray is passing out of existence. I understand the misinformation that's been given, and I'm always very grateful to be able to offer better in opinion and a more grounded one and a more real one, and one with more insight to it. So no one ever feel that if you've ever contacted me with that question in the past or the future, I've seen it as an amazing opportunity to correct that misinformation. And I'll say it again, while I appreciate that the people who've been sources for that misinformation don't mean it in a racist way, it is racist to me. So that might go away to explain why I like to anchor proper teachings around the 7 main original rays. Because when it comes to racial form that holds certain ray makeups are more common in people of certain racial descent. And it's a blend of between the first ray to the 6th ray, because the 7th is very rare as well. Those are what are in people's ray makeups. From personality ray to soul ray to triad ray to monadic ray to Ray Path 1. sorry, not ray path 1, from personality ray to soul ray to triad ray to monadic ray, it's going to be a combination of 2 or 3 of rays 1 to 6. So this is why I also like to ground proper teachings on the rays, because not only does it relate to spirit's light, but it translates down into ray makeups. And then rays that condition the collective and individuals. So when it comes to our next system, and when it comes to what is going to start precipitating through ray makeups, the red ray is very relevant, still very much here, and starting to get to a point where it is going to eventually get to the point where it's more within people in incarnation. And mainly that ray makeup being carried by people of Black descent and Eastern European descent. So this is where I'm coming back to what's also happening within that occurrence is more racial barriers being broken down. Because I'll say it again, we're having some red, and then especially attached to the ray path 1 symbol. The service people shine at with that particular ray makeup is in politics and government work. So a lot more racial equality needs to come in, and a lot more racial barriers need to be broken down. So some of the souls who are in incarnation with the ray makeup I'm talking about can get a little bit closer, stepping their foot a little more into proper government and political work, with it being less difficult because of their race. More of that racial equality needs to come in. So there's a twofold issue going on. Souls with that ray makeup being out of incarnation because they're waiting for more equality to come in so they can more fluidly do their work and shine in politics and government. And that's going to be a hard task because sometimes the rot that gets in is so bad, new pathways have to be formed. So they are waiting for a little more work to be done on racial equality to come through. And those that do have that in their frame makeup, still in the trenches doing that work to bring in more racial equality, as well as stepping into that field of service in any way. And this brings me to also just gently explaining why politics is such a mess. Because the ray makeups that would shine at that work and be able to do it properly and get it done, they're largely not here. And then you've got other people who do have that ray makeup who've managed to get into that field that are doing their best. But of course, the odd time have come up against racism or racial barriers, or their lives being made more difficult because of that, and everything else that goes with it. But I'll say it again, this is also why politics is such a mess, because the bulk of people who are in politics and government work don't have the ray makeup I'm talking about. And it's like watching people being set up to fail. You know, there are some people doing their absolute best to fill that gap, because as we all know, space hates a vacuum. Someone has to move into that arena. That can't stay empty. It wouldn't. It's space hates a vacuum. So there are certain ray makeups, and I find it interesting, the ray makeups that are mainly in politics and government, who are trying to do their best in politics and government work, who can only do so much because essentially they've been set up to fail because it's not essentially their field of service. So this is also why I'm not too concerned about government and politics long term, meaning you have people that are very worried about what's coming down the line and how politics and government are going to be used. Long term, I'm not worried about it because the bulk of people in government and politics don't have the brain makeup for shining in that arena, essentially, indirectly shining in it, but not directly. So it can't work. It can't work. Things have to break down so people can move into more authentic service and make space for those who would shine in that arena, meaning having some red on Ray Path 1 is phenomenal for government and political work. So it's an interesting dynamic going on. So this is where we all collectively do need to have patience for government and politics, because the bulk of people in that arena are indirectly shining as best they can, but it's not their ideal service. So it can only get so far and only so much can be done, and only so much holding the fort can be done to then allow for those that would more shine in that arena to start coming through over the next 2,000 years. So I just want to see if there's anything else I wanted to say about the red ray in that respect. Now, what also crops up, and this is another query that I've been dealing with for over a decade, over then people asking about the rays and the chakras. And I'm going to put that into a separate video to try to keep this one as short as possible. But basically, I don't recommend that red is directly invoked through the base chakra. And I'll talk about that in a different video, but like that if you have been doing that and it works for you, absolutely fine. You're not doing anything wrong. Keep working with that. But I don't recommend it. But you still can invoke the red ray. And once again, it's not about quibbling over frequency, because spirit's light is immeasurable. It's that awesome. It's immeasurable. It's more about connecting with the conditioning quality of the red ray of will and power. It's a fabulous ray to connect with. If your own personal will, you know, your lesser fire, your personality will fire, if that's feeling a bit flat, or if you're feeling a bit flip-floppy with motivation and things like that, the red ray of divine will is a fabulous ray to work with, to just bring in healthy directness and just healthily support your own personal fire. So the red ray can still be invoked and worked with, but I don't recommend it being brought through the base chakra. And I talk a lot about that. And that's a big part of my blessing technique course. So that might be a course you would like to have a look at and contact me about if you would like more of the teachings that I give around colors and the chakras, and ones that I would suggest, although I'll say it again, if you do bring red through the base chakra, absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. I just don't recommend it, and I'll put that in a separate video. The only other piece of information I would like to give is, if you're watching this video and you're going, you know, wow, Chloe, that's really interesting over ray makeups and how that connects with certain racial forms, and people are hearing me talking about a lot more work needing to be done over breaking down racial barriers and bringing in more racial equality. If you're really resonating with that and hearing that, I would highly recommend the rainbow bridge techniques, because what's going to bring the red ray through more in people's ray makeups is not us collectively sitting down invoking the red ray. What will bring that through more is people individually and collectively clearing imbalanced karma, clearing low-grade internal and external patterns, especially for those who are working through very deep racial wounds where racism has caused a huge amount of harm. If you're someone who is working through that or looking for ways to support yourself in terms of supporting yourself working through racial barriers, or using a technique that really helps to dissolve that type of harm caused through someone's ancestral line, I cannot recommend the rainbow bridge techniques enough, because that technique especially phenomenal for resolving internal and external patterns, weaving the antakarana threads. And it's that being done individually and collectively that will also support more of that red ray coming through in somebody's ray makeup, especially with ray path 1 attached, the symbol above monad, over the next 2000 years as we move through the Aquarian age. So if you would like to reference the rainbow bridge techniques, they're available for free on the soul1.org website, and I'll put that in a link with this video. And I do also have an online rainbow bridge workshop coming up in September. It's being broken up over 2 shorter classes for the phase 1 techniques. So you might like to join that online class. There is a small fee for my online classes, but that includes a full student instruction manual, a recording of both classes sent on to class participants, as well as personal teachings. The Rainbow Bridge classes that I give are more than just teaching you the proper steps. It goes into a lot more detail and also practical application of the techniques as well. So you might like to check out the details for my upcoming Rainbow Bridge Phase 1 workshop in September, or starting in September, and I'll put details in a link as well. On that note, I believe I've imparted everything I felt I needed to impart or say, or everything that I believe would be good for putting into this video. So on that note, I hope this video is very well received. I hope it has answered some deeper questions and queries about the red ray. And as always, feel free to contact me through my website, www.chloefolan.com, if you've got some deeper questions. But on the whole, I hope the video has been very insightful, very enlightening, and interesting. 7 ray blessings to all.